Hi, I'm Kim McDonald, author of the book You Change, They Change: How to Take Control of Your Life by Losing Control Over Others. And today I want to talk to you guys about blame and shame and being defensive. So, common human problem. So, not a student problem, not a teacher problem, not a parent problem. This is a problem that we all struggle with as humans, and it's being defensive. And usually that is because we're in shame. So you might have a scenario where you think you are so right, and everything about that situation, you are right. And you're pretty indignant about it, and you're shaming and blaming that other person. And I'm here to tell you that when you have to be right 100%, there's usually a little bit of shame involved on your part, and you come across as self-righteous, indignant, and you blame the other person, and they go on the defensive. And when they're on the defensive, they become self-righteous and indignant and make you more defensive. So it's like you have two hamsters stuck on a wheel in a cage, and they don't know how to get off. And unless somebody gets off and applies vulnerability and a transparency to the situation, it's just a mess. So why do we do this? Well, we want to be right. We want to be right. We don't want to admit fault, and we don't want to see the possibility that there is a perception difference in what we see and what they see. And there's another scenario to the same situation, almost like a video game has an alternate ending or a movie has an alternate ending. Maybe their perception is completely different and skewed, and you wouldn't know that unless you asked. So I propose that if you enter into an issue where you're feeling wronged in some way, instead of blaming and shaming and putting someone on the defensive, find yourself being vulnerable and asking questions and using the words I feel. So let's say the scenario where you didn't do great on a test, and you don't feel that the teacher delivered the material in a way that you could understand, or you didn't have enough time for preparation, or the test was nothing like what she gave you to study, or all the excuses that you might have for not doing well on a test. Instead of talking to your friends about, oh, Mrs. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so didn't do this and didn't do that, and everybody getting each other riled up and angry at the teacher, and maybe even going home and getting your parents upset about the teacher, I propose you go to the teacher and you say, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, I feel I wasn't prepared for this test, and I'm not sure how I can do more than what I've done. Can we talk about it? And I guarantee you she will or he will spend the time to go backwards and see where maybe there was miscommunication or misperception in how you received the material and how you could prepare better next time. And she could prepare you better next time. Maybe there's even something that she didn't think of that you will have helped her uncover so that she can teach in a different way that's, more usable friendly. We all learn differently. I don't read books. I wrote a book, but I don't read books. I listen to them on Audible because of a reading comprehension problem, and I can really retain what I hear much more than if I read. My head goes off in all kinds of directions when I'm reading the written word, but when I listen to the same book on audio, I could really retell and understand the knowledge a lot more, and it sinks in a lot better in my brain. It's just me, but that's a lot of people. Some people need amber lenses to read. It helps them be sharper focused and kind of cancel out all the other noise in their head or the surrounding area. A lot of dyslexics like this approach too. So there's all kinds of tools you can use to retain knowledge better. And your teacher might know those tools, but if you don't talk to them openly and honestly about how you're feeling, they're not going to be able to help you. And if you go to them with a spirit of resentment, meaning the energy that you have is blame and shame, they're going to be on the defensive. yes, even your teacher will be on the defensive. They might say, well, you haven't prepared. It's your fault. You need to take responsibility. And as much as there's truth in that, that's not going to make you want to be vulnerable and talk to them about your issues or your problems. And so, ultimately, everyone wants to be received and understood. So you have to start with understanding. Teachers aren't perfect, parents aren't perfect, your friends aren't perfect, and you're not perfect. We're all imperfectly perfect. And so when we come in a situation that we're upset about, with upset, we cause more upset. But when we come with compassion and understanding that we're all human and we're all imperfectly perfect, maybe your teacher had a bad day. Maybe she was being forced by the school to get her grades in sooner than she had thought, and she had to rush this. And, there's so many scenarios that you don't know about going on in other people's lives. And unless you show compassion, then you probably won't receive compassion back. So it has to start with you. You be the change you wish to see from others. So by entering into a conversation, not with blame or shame, but acceptance that we are all the same, you can change the scenario from miscommunication and misperception to understanding and compassion, and everybody wins. So try this. That's the challenge. Try seeing where you're blaming and shaming and maybe talking negatively about other people and making the situation worse, instead of going to the person and really finding out where you can change and be better, for them, for you, and for everyone involved. You might just be the reason someone else does better next time and receives help before they do something because of their overwhelmed feeling. So stand up for yourself and stand up for others and communicate. Don't put people on the defensive, and don't be defensive. Be vulnerable and open to acceptance and compassion. I hope this helped you. It sure helped me. I wish I had learned it at your age. Take care. Talk to you soon.